Capital Hoops here with our new series, Capital Corner. We are at Landon with new head coach Hajj Turner. Hajj, we appreciate you meeting with us.
Thank you for having me, man. Really excited.
Yeah, we're very curious to learn more about you, learn about how you ended up here on this beautiful campus here at Landon, get a little background on you, and kind of try to figure out what you have in store for us.
Okay, let's roll.
Let's start with, just give us a little bit of background about yourself. Everyone knows you've been at GW for the past 7 years, but where'd you grow up? Obviously, you were a player back in your day.
Yeah.
Just give us the background.
I tried. So I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's funny, now that I'm not a college coach anymore, I could take off my allegiance. I could show my allegiances. I was really happy for UVA this year. I grew up on that campus, but went to Charlottesville High School. Played at Louisville, 97-02. I was there for 5 years, so I played 1 year for Patino and 4 for Denny Crum. So that was where the coaching bug hit me. Just playing for 2 Hall of Famers, and then worked at Maryland for academic coordinator for men's basketball for 2 years. So got to, share some space with Gary Williams and everything he's done. Another Hall of Famer, and then coached. He left there and went to Vermont with Mike Lonergan, and then the GW with him, and finished up there a couple months ago, and just really excited to be here now.
Go back to Maryland. Tell me exactly what that job entails, the job you had there.
At Maryland? Well, I mean, the academic coordinator helps the guys stay on track. It's a multifaceted job. You're helping the guys pick their schedules, helping them with their time management, tutors, study hall, traveling on the road. Just keeping them lined up to be successful. And it's a full-time job, a bit thankless. The only time you hear about academic coordinators is when somebody's ineligible. So luckily you never heard about me, because that never happened on my watch. But it's a key part. It's a key component to any successful, I think, Division I program. You got to have some checks and balances in place to keep guys. It's not like guys don't want to do anything academically, but they just have so much going on that helps somebody coordinate that and keep them on track is a big part of the program. So
with that job, is there anything going on from a basketball perspective, or is it strictly just kind of helping them from the academic side?
That's it. No, it's all like I used to. That was when I was a little younger. I played pickup with them in the summer and stuff like that, and I would go to practice because I knew the ultimate goal was to be a coach, and I didn't know exactly how that was going to, what path that was going to take me on, but. When I left my internship at the NCAA, that was the best opportunity I had, and so there wasn't any specific basketball stuff, but it was like a free pass to Gary Williams practices and games, and I traveled with the team and sat on the bench. So that was just awesome to be around greatness and watch how to build and run a program successfully like he did. So I learned a lot on the fly.
So that job then becomes the job in Vermont, which is basketball.
Yeah.
Which is coaching basketball.
Right.
So tell me about what. Obviously, you met Mike Lonergan.
Yeah.
He was at Maryland.
Yeah.
He was at Vermont.
Yeah. So we overlapped by 1 year at Maryland. My second year was his only year at Maryland, and we got connected to each other through his good friend Jimmy Patsos. But yeah, so that was. I remember that summer very clearly when I came up that spring and summer. Just all I had about coaching was excitement and passion. I had no idea what to do. So to be able to spend that spring and summer, I think I was the first guy that he hired, or at least the first guy that was on board at Vermont. So it was just figuring things out on the fly at a new school. The coaching wasn't new to him, but the university was new, and I remember a lot of long days and nights where our families weren't up there yet. I wasn't married, and his family I think didn't come up yet. So just spending a lot of time just learning each other and helping put the program together, and went on to do some really successful things at Vermont.
Yeah. So next stop after that is obviously your most recent stop at GW.
Yep, GW.
You were there for what, 7 years?
8 years. 8 years. Yeah.
Walk me through that.
That was different. Like at Vermont, we came in and replaced a legend who had won went to the tournament 3 times in a row, and they beat Syracuse. It was weird. Like Mike knew he was going to Vermont before that season ended. So we're sitting there watching. We weren't watching the game together, but I remember talking to him after the game, like when Vermont beat Syracuse, like, oh, great. I mean, you're happy for him, but then you got to follow that. But I think we did an admirable job. I mean, that place has been really, like, because of people before us and after us, that place, there's a consistent level of success there. So, so it was different there because they had great support. You know, they lost their whole team and there was nothing coming back. But the community.
So your first year was
after
it was after.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Literally after, like, the next season after that huge shot, that huge game where they beat. So we had, you're following that, and that's a lot of pressure to follow. But it didn't feel like pressure because the community had such great support. So between the community support and just the hard work of recruiting and developing, we were 10-21 and 13-17, and then all of a sudden we're winning 20 games a year, or 20 plus games a year for the next 4, and having some really high levels of success. 2 NIT bids, CBI bid, an NCAA bid. So we had a good time there.
So let's talk about GW.
So GW was different in the sense they were coming off a couple losing seasons, but there wasn't the same amount of support. There wasn't the same amount of, like, fan community support. In DC, it's hard to find your niche in DC. You got all these colleges that have really good basketball programs, and then you got NBA and NHL and Major League Baseball and soccer. So it's hard to. It wasn't like you knew the gym was going to be packed every night. So right. It was a different challenge. It was a different challenge because the resources were better, the talent pool in terms of recruiting was much better, but the community support was nowhere near what it was in Vermont, because Vermont is the only show in town. Right. That and hockey. So it was really different. It was a different challenge, but we got it done. We had some. I mean, I know he's things didn't end quite the way anybody expected, but there was the similarity between Vermont and GW was that we took over a team that didn't have a whole lot of talent, were graduated guys or injuries or whatever. And then in 2 or 3 years, had the thing like rolling where we got to the point. I mean, we beat Virginia when they were 6th in the country. We beat Creighton. We beat Rutgers, Penn State, just a bunch of teams in either higher levels, leagues, or ranked teams. Wichita State in a Christmas tournament in Hawaii. Like a lot of great success there in a totally different way. Like it was, we were up in New England bouncing around the prep schools and trying to. Just trying to recruit with less resources and less talent, and then coming here and fighting against a whole different level of competition. You got higher level leagues. That everybody's coming to DC. You know better than me. Like you see coaches from all over the country every day of the week when you're doing your games out in the WCAC and the IAC and all these great leagues around here. So it was a different challenge, but I was proud of the way that myself and everybody else that worked with us adapted to a totally different challenge and still had success.
So it started to rain outside, so we've come into the Landon quarters to conclude this interview. I think we left off with you kind of summarizing your tenure at GW. Yeah. But now we're at Landon. Mm-hmm. I know a new chapter in your life, and I'm just curious kind of how you got here.
It was really a unique situation because I'll start from the beginning. I got a call from a friend who will remain nameless, but a guy really good dude, called me up and said, "Hey, is so-and-so going to go for the Landon job?" I was like, "I don't know, but I might."
When was this?
October.
Okay.
It was October. So that's one thing that's unique about it because the athletic director was new, and I think his goal was to have a longer, more complete search. So when they made a change with the basketball program, too late to really have an effective search. And thorough search. So Coach Harley, who's amazing, a coach here.
That was the interim
head coach,
year,
but
who had been an assistant under Perkins. Right?
Yeah. Okay. He helps out with football, basketball, and just really knows the community and knows the pipelines to attract promising student athletes here. So he's been amazing help. But anyways, he had no interest in being the full-time head coach. He just wanted to help the school. And while the athletic director and the campus community was searching for a permanent basketball coach, he did a hell of a job coaching this team. They started season 13-0 and won. I believe they won way more games than they were used to winning in general. And just so hats off to him. But so as a college coach, I can't just up and apply for any job, let alone a high school job in October, unless there's a scenario like this where you got an interim head coach who does not want to be the permanent head coach, and an athletic director who wants to do a very thorough job. I think he did a good job. We'll see. So some things lined up really uniquely, and I started off joking when they asked me, and when he asked me who was going to go for the Landon job. I was like I might, but I was in my mind I was half joking, and then I just started learning and thinking about it more, and just everything I learned about it made me want to be here more and more and more. And I was able to pursue it quietly and without having any effect on my job at GW. Still scouting, recruiting, watching film, workouts, practices. So it was something that most years wouldn't even be possible. And it's not. I'd be lying if I said I had been thinking about being a high school coach. I've been kind of locked in on college basketball for the majority of my life as a player and as a coach. But then opening my eyes up to this, and there's just a different energy with younger kids, and being asked to do more than coach. You know what I mean? Like, teaching and being an advisor and mentor. They really stick strongly to the teacher, coach, mentor model. So you can't just come here and be a teacher. You can't just come here and be a mentor. You can't just come here and be a coach. They want you to be all three, and they're serious about it. I think a lot of schools say that, but they're serious about that model, and it really works here. So I'm excited to coach for sure, but excited that I'm being asked to kind of, be a member of the larger community and not just come in and, roll the balls out at 3:00 every day.
So one of the things that I think is very common amongst all coaches is how much emphasis they put on building a staff.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a new head coach, that's probably in addition to recruiting players and retaining your old players, is definitely at the top of the list.
Right.
How do you plan on building a staff? Who do you have coming back that's been on staff, and how do you kind of navigate those waters?
Well, Coach Harley is going to come back and help. And like I said, he's already been a tremendous help. He's got great institutional knowledge of how this place works, and he did a great job. And that you can tell that the guys really like him and respect him and trust him. So to have that is huge. The challenge for me is they want me to be the director of the basketball program. So it's not simply, hey, find 3 or 4 guys to be your assistant coach on the varsity.
That's pretty normal, right? Aren't most head coaches in private schools?
Yeah, it may be normal, but it's new to me.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm being tasked with it's not just about building my staff. I have a couple people that I can't talk about yet, but I'm really excited about our staff. That's probably the most I can say. But there's some current people here, and there's some former, or not former, but former alumni, and some people who have really strong ties to the Landon community that I think are going to be lined up to help me out and just help us get things back on track here. But then there's the JV. Then there's the 9th grade team, then the 8th grade, 7th grade, all the way down to the developmental stuff with the 3rd and 4th graders. We want to, and that's probably as exciting as the varsity head coaching job, to be asked to be responsible for development from 3rd all the way up to 12th grade. Now I'm not going to be running every 3rd grade workout at recess, but just to have some impact on these kids from the day they set foot on campus, whether they come in the 9th grade or they come in the 3rd grade, is really exciting. So I haven't done it yet, but I want to maybe use this room, get all the basketball. Anybody who's helped in any capacity with basketball, I've met most of them, but I want to bring everybody together, and that's something I'm excited about. Just communicating with each other and having some continuity. So like you don't get to 9th grade, and then all of a sudden everything is new to you because there's no cohesion between the coaches. So I'm looking forward to building it that way.
Recruiting is obviously something that is not new to you, but this is much different. The terms of it, all the aspects of it are much different than college recruiting.
Yeah.
How much learning do you think you need to do to kind of be where you need to be a good recruiter for middle school players?
A lot of learning. There's a lot of similarity in terms of college coaching, or college recruiting and high school recruiting. but there's a lot of differences too. Probably the phrase I've used the most on campus the last couple of weeks is, I think I know what I don't know, and it's a lot. But like people like Coach Harley and just people from the community, all the AAU guys have been really supportive in terms of just learning about younger kids. There's a demographic that I'm not used to, recruiting. Like I don't recruit, at least not in college. I didn't recruit 5th, 6th, 7th graders, and trying to, 8th, 9th graders who are making a decision on where they want to go to high school, if they're going to make a change. So I think the biggest difference is you really, like you might say in college that, we're recruiting the whole person and, the academics is important, but bottom line is the kids, the best kids in the world, 4.0 students, whatever, they're coming to college, they're making a basketball decision, and it's almost completely a basketball decision, regardless of what we may say or what they may say. It's not the case when you're talking to a 7th grader who may not even, he may not even want to play college basketball, but he wants to come here for the entire experience. So because of that, you have to expand your knowledge of that kid, like what, and expand, like I have to know more about Landon as a whole than I had to know about GW. I had to know about the basketball program, the academic support, and highlight a few things as we walk around campus. But here, I need to know about the art program, about the lacrosse program, about like all these different facets. And multi-sport athletes is something that's new to me too. But I like the multi-sport model. And for most kids, unless you're like Bo Jackson or somebody, this is the last time you can be able to seriously compete in more than one sport. So just learning and just learning that I need to expand my knowledge of where I work much wider. Like I said, I need to know everything about Landon and didn't need to know everything about GW to be a successful recruiter. So and then communicating with parents. Like parents are making this decision. Like parents are making like
they're driving the bus,
dropping their kids off at school every day, paying varying amounts for their kid to go to school here. So it's not like, hey, son, we support you, but go wherever you want. Like that's the conversation the kids have in college. But here, you're recruiting like everybody. And like if the kid has a younger brother, you might be, hoping that he comes there next year. And like there's a lot of, so you have to interact, and I like it. You have to interact and build relationships, deeper relationships with parents and kids than you had to in college. Because like I said, in college, it's like everybody's focusing on one, maybe two things, where here it's a whole lot different, and the parents obviously have, parents aren't paying for the college scholarship, you know what I mean? But parents are paying for their kids to go here, and they're getting their kids to school every day. So it's a different type of relationship you have to have with parents, but I'm excited about that part too.
Time management and stress management are two things that I think every coach would tell you are very important to kind of have a hold up.
Yeah.
How do you deal with those two things personally?
I mean, well, my family's awesome. My wife and 3 kids are great. They're extremely supportive, and they're very excited about this move. My daughter's going to go to the Landon's sister school next year, and my boys, when they're old enough, will come here. Hopefully, they got to get admitted first, but just they really push the family community here. Like they want one of the things that Bill, our AD, told me during the interview process. Like they want and expect my family to be around as much as possible. And now it wasn't the opposite in college, but you just don't have time for all that. Like after practice, you might be hopping on a plane instead of going home. So I think there will be a different, maybe hopefully better balance. Even though it wasn't bad in college, I think it'll be better here. And another thing is that I'm learning quickly is you have to be more efficient. I have to be more efficient here. I cannot go in my office and watch film for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that because I have to teach. I have to be at lunch. There's a seminar. There's a assembly. There's all these things that I can't just lock my door and put my head down and miss out on all the other great things happening on campus besides basketball. So I like that. And what I've learned is like I can't just say, hey, I'll get to this later on today. I have to account for every minute of the day. And I was telling my wife the other day, like I come home and like I don't like maybe I didn't even work out that day, but I'm just like I'm walking all around campus and like I'm come home and I'm exhausted. I'm like, why am I so tired? Like I ate twice and I feel good, but like I'm just doing something every second of the day, and it's
taxing.
it's taxing, but it's in a very good way. Like I'm feeling my day is full with stuff that I really enjoy doing with a lot of great people that I've started to meet here.
What do you think your biggest challenge is taking this new position?
Biggest challenge, I think, is retention. There's no secret that after the 8th grade, kids can stay here, or they have the option to go to a bunch of different schools for a variety of reasons, whether it's athletic related or academic or geographic. So there's been a kind of a trend, maybe not just at Landon, but there's a trend of really promising young kids leaving to go to a different high school. And so you have this vision in your mind of, man, when this 8th grader is a 10th grader, we're going to be really good. Uh-huh. But that vision gets interrupted because that kid's gone. And if that happens, and I mean, if one or two, you're not going to keep everybody every year, but if that happens consistently, then then you struggle to have consistent success. Like my boy Joe McDonald, who I recruited here. I recruited to GW from here.
Yeah, tell me about that. That's interesting that when you were at GW, you were probably on this campus talking to him.
Absolutely. I was here a lot. Talking to him, talking to his mom, going to football games, watching him play football. But if he leaves Landon and goes to another school in the area, I don't know. I don't know if GW is still the right fit for him. I don't know how long we stay at GW, because he was a program changer. He was a culture program changer. I mean, he was huge. His recruiting class was ridiculous. And him and Keith and Savage. Like, if Keith and Savage doesn't stay at Episcopal and Joe McDonald doesn't stay at Landon, then those coaches don't win as many games. Those kids, they may have a much better or much worse experience at whatever school they choose to, and that may affect their college choice. So, like Joe McDonald and even Keith and Savage, they're a great example of what happens when you can retain your best kids and your best athletes. So that's what I really want to focus in on. So, like, as focused as I am on the varsity team, I need to automatically immediately start building relationships with younger kids too that are here on campus, because I want them to stay. So that's probably it hasn't presented itself as a challenge yet, because I haven't really been here long enough, but that's something that's always in the back of my mind, and I'll be meeting with all the teams and all their parents throughout the rest of the spring and summer, just to start building a relationship and let them know and show them why they should stay.
When you were at GW, I would see you once or twice a week at various high school basketball games. You were definitely, a staple at these big games. How do you think your kind of knowledge and how do you think your understanding of kind of how DMV high school basketball works? And is it something you think you're where you need to be, or is there much room for growth?
There's a lot of room for growth, because my understanding is, up until now, is from a different angle. Like, I'm looking at it from college, looking at high school. Now I'm high school trying to help kids get to college, or I mean, they're all going to go to college, but help them, help them achieve whatever basketball goals they have in addition to their academic goals. So I know I have I have a different view. I know where the good teams and the good players are, but now I got to figure out how to beat them, how to schedule, how to all the rules, the referees, and the different like practice rules and all that stuff. So I have more of a respect than an understand. I have a respect and knowledge of the area, but I don't have. I need to develop a better and different understanding from the perspective of a head high school coach, as opposed to a college assistant who's just visiting everywhere. But the good thing is, I was trying to pay attention to 50 high schools. Now I'm just focusing on one school, and then those kids hopefully have 50 college options to choose from. But for me, it's all Landon all the time.
Tell me about your immediate plans here. I know you guys will be participating in our summer league at DeMatha, Capital Hoop Summer League at DeMatha.
Yes, sir. Shout it out.
You guys bring back the league MVP in Keno in the league. You also have another highly regarded player in Cannon Reynolds.
Cannon Reynolds, yeah.
But talk to me just about any plans you have for other plans for the summer, scheduling for next year. Is
Right.
that something that you've started to take
Yeah,
a look at?
yeah. I don't know how the scheduling releases work, but we're doing 2 holiday tournaments in the area. I've scheduled one other non-league game, and the league schedule, I do have that already. So there's still like 6 or 7 games I need to figure out, and I want to take since our tournaments are local, I do want to take the team just for team bonding and just growth purposes. I want to take them somewhere where we have to get a hotel for 1 or 2 nights and just play 2 or 3 games just to, I think the guys will really appreciate that. They actually asked me about that during the interview process. So I want to challenge them too. I want to have a balanced schedule, but I don't want to have a light schedule and then get our butts kicked once the league play starts, because I know how good this league is. So, but that's something I'm working on every day. The summer league, I'm really excited about. I do know Keno was the MVP, and Cannon is just he's tough. He's tough to guard. I don't know the entire teams. I haven't had the chance to work with everybody yet, so it's not fair for me to say what I expect. But even when I was at GW and didn't know about Landon, I knew about those 2. I think Keno is going to have an explosive summer. I was able to watch him play last weekend. I think he's got great IQ, great size. He can shoot it, and he's tough. He has a football mentality. He's a quarterback for the football team as well. So I love that toughness. So I think his recruiting is going to skyrocket this summer. I think his AAU coach is going to put him in some really good exposure opportunities, and the summer league. I'm excited about the June stuff with the new recruiting rules. Yeah, so right. All of that is really, really exciting. But those are the few plans that I can at least talk about right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have other things you need to attend to now.
Yeah.
I know you're teaching here as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's anything else that anything you want to talk about, or any message for your league or the DMV. I know,
oh no.
I know we're excited. You're a great guy. I've gotten to know you over the last few years.
Thank you.
You've got a bright future here. And I'm excited, and I definitely welcome you to kind of the DMV high school basketball community.
I appreciate it. I have no messages for the rest of the league. I'm not no bulletin board material. I know a good amount of the coaches in the league and in the area, and couldn't ask for a greater group of guys to learn from before they start trying to beat our butt. But it's exciting to be part of the same community, but on the other side. But there's a lot of great people, a lot of coaches to learn from and steal ideas from. So. I've already started doing that and watching games. So I'm excited to be here. I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to say we're gonna beat them and them and them. I mean, everybody wants to beat everybody. So we're gonna just try to work and put ourselves in position to have a chance to come out on top in a few of these games.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you this summer and seeing you next winter.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man.